Yoink. Well, hey. Alright, here we go. Map number 4 is going to be Neo Chain Reaction. And on the right side as the brown Zerg, we have LRM Pike. On the left side as the blue Protoss, the hero of Protoss of PvZ, it is SJ's Mazur, their fearless leader and Gosu PvZer. So, boom. Oh, and I believe these guys are both Polish, so we're gonna have some incomprehensible chat. Incomprehensible to me, at least. Yeah. Cool. So yeah, Chain Reaction. Similar to Outlier, it's not a very good map for Terran. So in Pro League, we generally saw only Protoss and Zerg on this map. And well, I'm curious to see how this game goes because, as I said at the end of last game, you know, Pike and Mazur had a pretty epic PvZ already in Season 1 of Gambit's Cup, and I think they're... oh! Hold a thought! For your information, we agreed with Pike that the first attack... Yes! No Rush 20 game! I was just going to talk about how these guys love going to the late game. And... alright, sick! Sick, sick, sick. So, we are... we have a No Rush 20 PvZ. I like it. That's how I like my PvZs. I love No Rush 20, man. Just build as many Nexi as possible in 20 minutes and then figure out what you're going to do. Funnily enough, Mazur's actually gone for Gateway first, so I'm not sure exactly how that works in the No Rush 20 plans. Maybe this is one of those things where, you know, you go on BNet and the fastest map and everyone's like, alright guys, no rush 20, no rush 20, and you just 4-pull the guy who's in closest position to you, and he just gets so angry. Oh, it's wonderful. I mean, I would never do such a thing. I'm not a terrible person. But I'd imagine that would be a very wonderful feeling. Or similar on BGH or Hunters or whatnot. Especially like on Hunters, if you spawn top left, oh, you just 4-pull the guy who's like also top left. It's wonderful. Anyway, Mazur's being exceptionally annoying here. Oh, gets the pylon down. Now the thing is though, the Overlord came over already, right? So I think he saw the gateway, or he's going down now to check, but he's gonna see that gateway. The first cell's already out, but there's only one gateway, right? So this is gonna be gateway, the gateway first expand, popularized by Jangbi. Basically, you go gateway and then forge a nexus, depending on when the lings are out. Of course, because this hatch rate was blocked so long, the pool's already done, the lings are already out. It's gone up to 542 minerals though. Pike went super high in the mineral count before he was able to get rid of that probe. You know, another probe is going out, but the first cell is staying at home because of course he did see the link, so he wants to defend. He's going to need to block off this wall. I assume that this is tight both on the bottom and above the gateway. I'm not 100% sure, but I think this is the only gap, and that's usually when the only time this build is viable. You need a map where you can make a single space wall with your 3 wall buildings, or else you should probably not go gateway first. You should just do the normal forge first. But according to Kid Canada, who's in my chat, the top is not tight, so Mazur's actually put a second zealot there. So apparently Mazur knows this as well. And you know, it's not a big deal. It is only a single hex gap for Zergling, so it's also, again, I mean, with one Zealot there, he will be fine, and he's going to expand now. So you see, his Nexus is a little bit later. But he has these early Zealots that he could be using to put on pressure, except that since there were early Lings out, he needed to play a little bit defensively. But now that he's got a few Zealots out, he can actually go out again. Yeah, see, he just waited for his cannon to finish, and now he can actually move out again with the Zealots. So he's again going to go put on some pressure here. Just going to use the probe, check how many Lings there are. Looks like there's 8 Zerglings in total. 3 Zealots with decent micro should be able to take those out. Although it looks like a couple more Zerglings are coming out for Pyke, so Pyke knows. I mean, Pyke, you know, he's obviously seen this gateway opening before. And he knows how to deal with it, so he's just going to make just enough Zerglings to deal with the Zealots. He doesn't want to overmake Zerglings, obviously. But, oh, just going to poke around here. And, yep, now he's got 10 Zerglings, and with decent arc, he should be able to deal with this. Although, good micro from Azur so far. All 3 Zealots alive. Looks like 3 Zerglings killed. Meanwhile, Pyke has got his 3rd base up. He's going up to the lair. And everything going accordingly. In the Protoss space, doing an annoying Overlord headspin. God, that makes me so mad when Zergs do that. Ugh, I just hate looking at that. Oh man. I just feel like, you know what it feels like? Like watching this Overlord try to dance. I imagine is the same feeling that, you know, Simon Cowell gets when he's on those stupid shows, you know, like what the hell are they called? Like, I don't know, X Factor or something? Was he on that show? It's, you know, those shows where, like, stupid people who think they can dance or sing, like, try and dance and sing on stage, and they're always terrible, well, mostly terrible, and then Simon says mean things to them? Yeah, like, I want to say mean things to this Overlord, but he doesn't even speak my language. So I can't, like, I'm just really frustrated. I have all this pent-up anger, and no way to unleash it. So anyway. Back from the random tangent. Spire on the way for Mr. Pyke. More Zealots actually going now to the 3rd base here. One Zealot kind of distracting a lot of Lings running around in the main base, while the other 3 actually head over here to the 3rd. There's only 5 Zerglings to stop them, so a couple of drones may go down here. The drone's actually being pulled. They're going to get stopped by this mineral field, though. I think he actually just sent them to his main, not knowing that the pathing messes, like, is a bit weird on this map. So, oh man, he's actually losing all the drones here. I don't know what Pyke's doing. He's not paying attention. He's losing all 4 drones. Pyke, what happened there? Wow. Clearly was too busy microing this Overlord. Oh wait, where'd it go? Oh, there it is. Anyway, looks like these Zerglings will now deal with these Zealots. Oh, they're just going to try and run, perhaps be annoying. Run into the main. Oh. Oh man, look at this Zealot. He was so brave. He's like, guys, I'll sacrifice myself. Run for cover, run home. And then he like tried to divert the Zerglings, but these guys are going to die anyway. That was a very heroic Zealot. I applaud him. He's going to get a medal when he comes back as a Dragoon. Anyway, still just 3 hatches. No signs of a 4th hatcher yet from Pyke. Oh no, never mind. It's at the natural. There it is. Ha! I'm dumb. I was wondering where it was. Alright, anyway. So it looks like, having lost those Zealots and seeing a decent number of Zerglings out, Mazor's going to add a couple of cannons here, but the thing is, his wall is very tight here, so it's very difficult for these Zerglings to actually do anything, even with just a single cannon back here. As you can see, they're just freaking out here. Just trying to decide whether to go or not. They're probably all arguing amongst themselves of who should go first, trying to push each other in the front, take the first hits. Anyway, Mazor is going to be going for +1 Corsairs. I think it's pretty good on this map. I mean, going for +1 Stairs nowadays in PvZ is fairly standard. And also on this map, the air-to-air distance between the mains, as you can see, is very short. So, so that also helps things out a little bit. And Pyke now, going up to 5 hatches, transitioning very, very standardly. Getting a decent number of Scourge, actually. I wonder if he actually, look at that, he's got 6 Scourge already. I wonder if he actually 8 Scourge, in fact. Oh man, some of those must be a misclick. I think he must have hit S too many times here when he's selecting his larva. He's made, wait, he's made 10 Scourge? He's made at least 8. I see 8, okay, he's made 8 Scourge here. Which is definitely more than you need at this point in the game. Even if you suspect your opponent's going Corsairs, you don't need 8 Scourge already, do you? I mean, actually, there's 3 Corsairs out, so if he just sends them all in, you can actually kill some of these. But, I'm fairly certain he just misclicked there. Because, of course, you need to hit S to select your larva, and then hit, you know, whatever hotkey for the units you want. Sometimes if it lags or if you're, you know, spamming too fast, it just registers the S twice, and you get Scourge instead. But, you know, those will be useful later on anyway, to help with these Corsairs. Just slightly odd timing for them. It's like +1 now finished. Azor's still choosing not to show his courses yet. Of course, he wants to wait for at least 4 or 5 so that he can one-shot Scourge. I think you need 5 to be absolutely sure that you can get away with, you know, attacking Scourge. I'm actually curious where he's going to trap his probe. I guess he'll do it behind the natural minerals, because you can't trap it behind the main. Well, actually, no. I guess you can build a pylon here and trap it here. That's probably actually the most efficient way. Maybe? I don't know. Actually, never mind. Anyway, so DT guy got a few Zergling kills before Pyke realized, and just gonna poke around a little bit. Sit here at the Zerg's 4th base. Meanwhile, we do have spores going up, so it looks like Pyke is aware. I believe that will become a spore. Pyke is aware of what's coming his way. Simcy here is a bit awkward for Pyke. It doesn't leave him a lot of room to build Sunkens behind, as you can see. So that might hurt him later on if he wants to play a little bit more defensively, but I guess we'll see here. This is a very interesting map with a lot of back doors and whatnot. Like there's a back door to the main, there's like lots of gaps in between bases with minerals and neutral buildings and stuff. I mean, even between the 3rd and the natural, there's like a double barrier here of neutral buildings. So it's a very, a lot of crazy options that you can open up later on in the game once you have time to actually kill those buildings or mine out those minerals. In the meantime, handful of Zealots poking out here, gonna perhaps secure this 3rd base for Mazur. And it looks like, oh, he actually has trapped a bunch of these Zealots, or sorry, the Zerglings rather. Catches a few of them. The rest of them do escape. Of course, they are speedlings. They're pretty speedy, pretty slippery. Meanwhile, we do have some Hydras now out for Pyke, leaving a few in his main just for protection. So it looks like, yeah, despite that somewhat more aggressive opening from Mazur, going for the gateway first and then really aggressively denying the natural, it seems that the No Rush 20 agreement has somewhat happened, I guess. So a couple lurkers coming down to deny the space. That's going to be really annoying, actually. And Speedlot's trying to catch more lurkers, actually, out on the map. Unable to there. Meanwhile, Mazur has decided that he needs to get these Dragoons out. He's getting Dragoon range. He's got his robotics already, getting the first observer now. So we'll be able to deal with these lurkers fairly soon. The thing is, even if Pyke sets up a semi-lurker contain here at the bottom of the ramp, Mazur has these Zealots at the back, so later on when he decides to bust this, he can come in from both sides and really split the lurker fire and make it a lot easier. He'll also be attacking downhill, which will make things really nice. And it looks like Pyke actually realizes this and decides to back up, but oh, we might get trapped! Ooh, I think Mazur actually could have trapped those 2 lurkers, but wasn't quite able to there. So he's going to have to pull back with these Zealots, being really nice and active with these Zealots. I quite like this. Meanwhile, oh, looks like now the main army is moving out to the 3rd. He wants to secure this 3rd base. And we have a few lurkers here at the 4th. Looks like Pyke thinking about killing this. Nope, never mind. Thought he was going to kill this and then he could... oh, maybe he's just scared of the DT or something. Anyway, either way, he's trying to secure his own 4th base, but... oh, Corsair's going to deal with that. Can the DT survive? It will survive for now. And there's the 3rd base of Le Protoss. Anything interesting going on in Pyke's base? Nope, just macroing up as usual. So yeah, fairly passive game. It's interesting though, because since this is a 2-player map, there's less resources on the map in total compared to like a big 4-player map. I mean, let's count out the bases. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Essentially 5 bases for each player compared to, like, if you look at Fighting Spirit, it's well, I guess Fighting Spirit is 6 bases per player, so it's not that much fewer than Fighting Spirit, or plus the base in the middle of the map for Fighting Spirit. So, but still, a bit fewer resources, and so that means if it does go to late game, it might become a bit of a scrappier fight here. There's also so many different attack paths that I think could be quite interesting here once it goes to the super late game. If Pyke decides to, you know, open up a lot of backdoors and do a lot of crazy Zergling attacks and whatnot. Here, Cannon's killing something. Ah, Mazur's actually opening up the back door here, so the back path here between his natural and his 3rd is actually open instead of having to go out the more dangerous route here out in the open. So that'll be quite nice. Meanwhile, the main army here just doing a bit of harassment, killing some overlords, and whoa! Some random storms here. I was gonna keep that Templar alive. Ah. Meanwhile, Mazur's money is getting a little bit high. It's not too concerning, and doing a good job leading with the Dragoons. That's exactly what you want. You want the Dragoons to engage and kill the Lurkers, while your Zealots and Templar hold back until the Zerg actually comes out with the rest of his units, and then you can go forward. And you should probably engage now with the Zealots as well to help buffer. That's a lot of Lurkers, though. Pike is having a ridiculous number of Lurkers, just like he had in his game against Terror. And while all this is going on, going up to Hive, getting a relatively late 4th base, considering the Protoss 3rd is already finished here. I'm a little bit surprised by that. I wonder if the DT that was here kind of denied it for a while or something, and I didn't notice. But, I mean, I guess that would also partly explain why he has such an overwhelming number of Lurkers as well. Just delaying that expansion a little bit, saving him some money. Anyway, looks like the main army are going to come over here, but it's a bit of a narrow bridge here, and if the Lurkers get into position, that'll be very dangerous for the Protoss, but they're a little bit bunched up right now. You can see that Pike doesn't want to borrow them all together here, because he knows a couple of good storms will demolish all his Lurkers, so he was kind of trying to figure out how, or trying to just split them up a little bit more before borrowing. The Templar is now coming forward, but yeah, there's no way that Protoss can actually break across this bridge. He's probably going to have to pull back a little bit and find another attack route. But I mean, even if he doesn't, it's still fine. Although, it looks like he's going to mine out these back minerals so he can get his probes over here. Thought he had them stuck for a second, but good thing he didn't. And actually, looks like he's going to mine out these back minerals as well, so he can go access his 4th rather than having to go on the outside again. As I said, just so many different paths that you can open up going into the late game here. Meanwhile, Pike finally getting his 4th base to match the Protoss' 3rd. Of course, Zerg always wants to be a base ahead at least of the Protoss, and against Terran as well. And Mazur, is he doing anything funny here? He's still got a couple of random Corsairs. He didn't really do too much with these Corsairs, in fact, in this game. Yeah. Oh, bit of a manner here on the gas. Should definitely cancel that. But looks like we have another attempt to break across the ramp, or sorry, across the bridge. Bit of a wasted storm there. He's got a lot of High Templar, though. He's got a lot of storms to use. Oh man, is it going to be enough? Though there's still a good number of Dragoons remaining to engage the Lurkers, but so many reinforcements coming in from Pike, and Mazur is definitely going to have to back up here. Mazur having slight macro issues, as you can see from his supply count, from his resource count, but wow, a lot of Zerg units coming in here. Of course, the Zerg can't really push across the bridge either, because of the storms. Although, having said that, it looks like all the storms have been expended. Yeah, no energy on these Templars, and the Dragoons are going to have to back up here. And Mazur doesn't really have any reinforcements. He's over 2,000 minerals right now, having some serious macro issues. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, only 6 gateways, plus the one at his natural. So 7 gateways on 3 bases is really not sufficient. You can support 7 gateways on 2 bases, in fact. So I'm a little bit surprised why he's not adding gateways. Maybe he's just not familiar with the map or something. He's actually having a difficult time with his building placement or something. He just doesn't have enough space. I know sometimes that can be an issue if players are very unfamiliar with the map and it's got a slightly weird main layout. You can just run out of space for your buildings and not know where to put your gateways anymore. But a nice little Zealot drop here in the main is going to not do too much damage though. But might provide a distraction for him to break across the other ramp. But Pike is just, is getting really good positions here. I think Mazur should really maybe not try so hard to break across these and just play a little bit, just kind of pressure. I mean, he's doing a good job kind of poking a little bit, but he shouldn't really commit across this ramp and just be like, alright, if you want to split the map, that's fine. Because the thing is, if this does become like go to super late game and the map becomes split, generally that favors Protoss. Because if you have, like on a 2-player map, if you're going to split the map evenly, that means you have even bases. And Protoss will generally be more cost efficient than the Zerg once he gets up to the super late game, Reaver, Archon, Templar, Death Ball composition. So he doesn't need to be overly aggressive here and, waste units trying to bust across these bridges, because, running across this bridge into a lurker field is just like almost impossible to actually break through there if Pike's paying attention. And, Pike is definitely careful. He's got all these units in reserve. He's not leaving the lurkers by themselves. If you leave the lurkers just by themselves, you don't have the supporting Lings and Hydras. It actually is possible to just break through with the Dragoons and Templars, but and good control. But with all the supporting units there in the back, it's really not going to work out. And meanwhile, it looks like Pike's actually going to counterattack now with a big train of Zerglings with a few lurkers here. A few random Protoss units actually going to see this coming and get caught out. They are going to get killed here, and the main army is actually not moving back to defend. I'm a little bit surprised here. The Zerg's actually swarming towards the Protoss natural. There's not that much here to defend. One High Templar with a storm is going to actually kill all the Scourge. Might have preferred to use it on the Zerglings, but now the main army is coming back. But while that's going on, it looks like a big attack here at the 4th base here. It looks like that attack was mainly a distraction from Pike so that he could take down this 4th base. And while the Protoss army was out of position here, but a lot of the Zerg units are clumped here. Where are the storms? There's no storms. Why are there no storms? There's so many High Templar here. I don't know why he didn't storm there at all. And now the base had to be cancelled here. So good job by Pyke denying that 4th base, but he's in a little bit of an awkward position on the retreat, though. He might just have to sacrifice a lot of these units. He's got 3 lurkers still on the high ground there. And yeah, it looks like he's just going to sack the rest of these lurkers, try and do a little bit more damage to the Protoss army. But the thing is, he's already accomplished what he set out to do, which was to deny this 4th base for the time being. It doesn't seem to have a drone going over to the 5th base yet. The funny thing is, the 5th base on this map is very, very awkward, because you see, the Zerg's expansion pattern is going towards the top left, right? But then the next logical base would be this one at the what is that, 10 o'clock-ish position. But this base is like right behind the Protoss's main. So just this little neutral building is separating this base from, actually I think these are probably stacked temples, but still, very, very close to the Protoss's main, and similar for Protoss, obviously, if he wants to take this bottom right base, it's very close to the Zerg's main. So it's going to be very, very interesting if it gets to the point where both players have taken those bases. I mean, I think that might be nice for Zerg to perhaps do a lot of drops across the back there into the Protoss main, just drop several cracklings to try and kill as many buildings as possible. That was very popular on maps like Heartbreak Ridge, which have a similar base layout. But it looks like, oh, we're going to have a big army engagement. Pyke actually seems to have a few of his units on move command or something there, but his army is really not engaging as one, and he's going to suffer a lot of casualties for it here. I think his army could have done a lot better if it was more cohesive, but now he's going to be on the retreat here, and seems to have switched into Ultralists, using his gas on Ultras instead of Lurkers, so that scary Lurker count from before, I mean, he's still got a decent number of Lurkers, but looks like he's just is going to be using it all on Ultra Ling right now. Definitely is a super strong late game composition. Meanwhile, sending in a few Zerglings to help deny this base, and once again the DT and Zealot on the ramp are going to stop that. That DT is probably much more crucial here to help block this. I like these kinds of moves a lot, because also what this helps is against like if Zerg just sends in a group of Zerglings with Dark Swarm, obviously the cannons won't do anything. So you really want something blocking here. Also, if you block with just one DT in the middle, sometimes the Zerg doesn't notice it, and will just kind of right-click units up, and they'll bug out and get stuck on the ramp. So it's like a really cost-efficient way to really defend your bases very well. You know, it looks like Pyke having some issues figuring out the pathing here on this map. But is massing up a good number of Ultras. They are 2-2 Ultras. They don't have their Carapace boost just yet. Looks like it's on the way. Meanwhile, the Protoss army looks like it's at 3-0. So maxed weapons upgrades, but no armor or shields just yet. Let's see what he's getting. Looks like getting armor. Does he have a second forge? No second forge. And now Mazor is about maxed here. 196 supply. How much does Pyke have? Pyke is actually down at 135. So Mazor actually with a pretty significant supply lead at this point, and has a good number of Archons as well to deal with those Ultras. And in fact, there's a good number of DTs. DT is actually very, very effective against Ultralists, even when there is detection. You know, the DTs aren't necessarily going to be attacked anyway, so you know the Dragoons and Zealots will help, and Archons will help tank, and the DTs just have massive damage per hit, which basically ignores the Ultralisk armor. And looks like a couple of DTs going up here to the top left to make sure the Zerg doesn't get the space, although some Lurkers are here ahead of them. I think they can actually kill them, but looks like the Lurkers getting the first couple of shots off. Maybe not going to be able to do that. Meanwhile, Probe going over here. So both players are actually going to take these bases kind of right next to each other's mains. And I'm very curious to see what kind of possibilities that opened up. I mean, it'll be very easy for... I'm trying to think. I think that'll probably help the Zerg more than the Protoss, in fact, because the Zerg can easily just, you know, open up this back door or do some Overlord drops across here with just small handfuls of cracklings, and there's no real equivalent. I mean, I guess Protoss can try and drop Zealots or DTs in the main base, but I feel like it'll be, you know, definitely more worthwhile for the Zerg. Meanwhile, Mazor's just kind of chilling here with his main army. I guess he's focusing elsewhere. Oh, he's microing his Corsairs, it seems. But I would be very wary about doing this. You have to be very careful in the late game PvZ, not to just leave your army sitting around in a big clump, because that's just asking to get plagued. If you just sit by the Zergs in that main right like this, in a group, and you're not paying attention, you know, all your units are going to end up getting plagued very easily. At least, you know, spread them out a little bit to mitigate the plague somewhat. And we can see that the fires are already out here. Pyke is getting a bit supply blocked there by that poke from Mazor. He's at 164 supply. Mazor just staying max. He really should be adding gateways or something. I'm not sure what he's doing. Looks like adding a cannon in his main. He knows it's a little bit vulnerable. As I said, the map base layout is very similar to Heartbreak Ridge, where drops in the main are very common, very easy and cost efficient for the Zerg to do. But really, I'm a little bit surprised that we're not seeing any additional gateways or something from Mazur. I mean, anything, additional tech, you know, some random carrier switch even would be awesome to see. But he's got a lot of money, and obviously he can't spend it on troops. I mean, he's going to spend it on expansion, he's going to spend it on cannons to defend this, but he really should be adding more gateways right now, because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Really, only 8, 9 gateways in total? Does he have any at his bases? He's got 9 gateways only right now. Going into the late game really needs a few more than that, I think. Like, basically, I'm really worried that if there is a big engagement, you know, right now, Mazur's army is looking ridiculously strong. It's got the Archons, the DTs, you know, very, very potent army mix. But if, you know, Pike, even if he doesn't trade very efficiently, if he just whittles down the army, like if he does one big engagement, you know, kind of spams a bunch of Zerglings and picks off as many units as he can, it'll be very difficult for Mazur to actually reinforce or reproduce an army in time. Whereas Pike, you know, with a good amount of hatches, will be able to reproduce a lot more quickly. And he is slowly but surely going up to max here, so I'm just a little bit nervous for Mazur here. He's also lacking in Reavers. I mean, Archons and DTs are wonderful, but I think once you get to the late game with those, with Dark Swarms protecting all the Zerg army, perhaps better to get some Reavers. But here we go, a drop in the main base. As I said, very vulnerable area for the Protoss. He had Corsairs in position, but it looks like they didn't get to the Overlords in time, so a good number of units are being dropped here. The main Protoss army is moving back. I'm just trying to keep an eye on the minimap in case Mazur is actually, or sorry, Pike's using this as an opportunity to go attack an Expo, but he's going to get the Templar Archives very, very crucially, and it's now going to start targeting down some gateways. I mean, the thing is, with Mazur only having 9 gateways in total, every single gateway here is actually quite crucial. And he's losing, he's lost a couple of them already. Looks like going to clean this up fairly easily, but there's a lot of Ultra Links still. I feel like this would have been a good opportunity for Pike to actually attack a base, although having said that, that is a ridiculously well-defended base. Oh my god. There's probably not going to be much that the Zerg can do to kill that, but it looks like preparing for another drop perhaps. He doesn't actually have any Overlords here, but can very easily drop this army just across the ledge into the Protoss main. Looks like one Hydra has actually survived everything. Meanwhile, a portion of the Protoss army is now moving up towards the Zerg Natural. I'm not really sure what he's going to do, but Zerg's going to be careful not to split up his army too much, because in those smaller numbers, the Zerg becomes a little bit more cost-effective. Meanwhile, looks like Pike now transferring his drones over here, and there is the big load up. As I said, the main Protoss army is actually outside of the main base. He's not quite going to catch these Overlords here. Where's the rest of the army? The rest of the army is coming up to join him, and this is going to be really devastating for Mazur. He's going to lose a lot of stuff in his main. The army is just so completely out of position here. He's got to go back right now. He's got a few cannons here to help, but that's just so many units. He does have one High Templar there to help storm it. Does do a decent amount of damage, but look at this. 5 Ultras in the main base, 3 Defilers to support them, and now the main army is trying to come back here, but as you can see, it's very, very clumsy, and he could lose a lot more tech right now. Looks like he's actually reproducing the Corsairs, perhaps to help defend against these drops, but with these swarms here, and with the main army just trying to come back, it's really, really difficult. And Mazur going into the late game, I mean, I felt that in the mid game he definitely had a good, was in a good position there. At one point he was maxed, and Pike was at 135 supply, but right now he's looking like he's just completely on the back foot here in this late game. Just constantly having to defend these drops. Although the thing is, though, you know, obviously these drops aren't free for Pike either. He did lose a handful of Ultras there. I mean, he's dropped down to 165 supply against the 186 supply from Mazur, and basically the players have split the map. So as I said, as long as Mazur can actually trade relatively cost efficiently, eventually I think he will be okay anyway. So we'll have to see what Pike can do about this. If he can perhaps try and kill off this base and take it, you can see Mazur knows that this base is very critical in how the future of this matchup is going to play out. Because of course this base is also not that easily accessible by ground for Mazur here. I mean, if Pike sets up a good lurker wall here, he can actually defend this base and claim it as his own, being so close to his main as well. So Mazur defending this very, very heavily, but there's no way that these Ultras even are going to get up here. Yeah, Pike needs to recognize that he cannot break this base. I mean, there's 4 Reavers here and 2 High Templar. What is he actually going to do with all those cannons and Reavers there? I mean, his best chance, if he really wants to break this base, is possibly to do a big drop on it while going in from the ground, but even then, it's going to be super, super difficult. And now Mazur is going into the main base with a DT and a Reaver. There actually, it looks like a decent number of drones here for some reason, mining out those, or finishing off the almost mined out main base here, and that DT is just going to finish all of them off here. Oh man, should probably go kill the gas drones as well. Meanwhile, the Reaver going to go kill the gas drones at the natural, and me and Fish Server even can't take the epicness of this game, so it's just going to go down in 5 minutes or something like that. That's alright. it will come back. And look at this. The shuttle's just trying to fly around, look for some minerals or for some drones to kill, and the natural and third were both mined out, so that gets taken down. The DT in the main, though, is on 12 kills and not stopping. Looks like finally going to get taken down here by these Zerglings, not before killing all but one drone in the main base. Meanwhile, all of the probes have actually disappeared from Mazor's third. Presumably he just transferred them. Yeah, he's got pretty good saturation at his bottom right 2 bases. So he's doing just fine. And adding a couple more cannons in his main. Half his gateways are on fire. He hasn't rebuilt his gateways though. Look at this. He's on 7 gateways in total on, you know, however many bases, 5 bases or something, going into late game. Although having said that, his money isn't excessively high. That, I don't know, I think maybe a couple more gateways might be good, but not too many actually. And he is back at max again. He's got a very strong composition. Look at all those DTs, in fact, getting a lot of DTs in here, and now has a Reaver or a couple of Reavers in the army comp as well. So this is basically, you know, what you want in the late game. This is like the perfect late game PvZ composition here. Not much more you can ask for as a Protoss. And here we go. The Zerg basically maxed as well on Ultraling Defiler. Basically has what he wants as well, and wow, that is a lot more Zerg units. Oh man, that was only half the army that Pyke had here. Now if he groups this up together, that's going to be so scary. I hope he brings all the units back so we can actually see the entire army as one. And interestingly enough, look at this. Pyke not wasting a lot of resources like Mazor did to defend his base. He's just like, alright, whatever, I'll just build one sunken, that'll be fine. I shouldn't say wasting really. I think these defenses are a pretty good investment. Although, you know, coming from me, the guy who always makes way too many cannons, I guess that's not saying much. But looks like, oh man, just look at the mini-map. Both sides streaming down here. Looks like Pyke just boxing and moving with all his army, but big storms on everything, of course. The problem with moving in with all your army at once is everything is so clumped against the storms. Can he get a good plague off again? No, it looks like this is going to be, oh man, not good at all for the Zerg. A bunch more Defilers coming in, but that's not going to do anything. Even with the Dark Swarms there, the DTs doing maximum damage. However, the rest of the Zerg army is just willy-nilly all over the place here. It looks like Pyke didn't have them on control groups or anything. Of course, he just ran out of control groups to have with all his army, so he just was kind of boxing and moving on the mini-map. And that clearly didn't work out well for him at all, although it looks like these Hydras are going to do a decent amount of damage. He has whittled down the Protoss army a little bit, but still, Mazor at 156 supply, Pyke dropping down to 112 here, and the Hydras can't even figure out how to go home. So Pyke looks like that did not work out well for him at all, and this is what I'm talking about. Now both players actually mining out the map. See, Pyke now down to just this base that is getting close to mined out, and this base, which is somewhat fresh, but still, it's basically a base and a half left for Pyke. And I'd imagine similar for Mazor here. Yeah, basically a base and a half. Looks like he's still got some minerals here at his third, interestingly enough. Basically a base and a half for both players, and once they get mined out, you know, it's just coming down to who's being more cost efficient in these engagements. And if you look at the bank, Mazor has so much more bunny bank compared to Pyke, who's just really desperate for resources here. So I feel like this is going to be really difficult for Pyke to actually win this, to engage cost efficiently enough that he can actually win with just what little mining he's going to have left in this game. Look, you can see he's actually pulling back some of these units that he was using for defense to try and join the main army, to supplement the main army, you know, most of which he lost. And oh man, random Templar even running down and getting a storm off, of course, having been, actually no, that Templar didn't have much energy, but I thought since it was sitting here, like this Templar is almost 250 energy, so might as well go in and storm randomly. But looks like a big surround from Pyke though. This is exactly what he needs here to crush the Protoss army. A lot of DTs here, but the splash damage from the Lurkers might be enough. But oh my god, the Protoss army somehow crushes the Zerg regardless. I don't understand that. That was the perfect surround from Pyke, and yet just the mass DT composition of the Protoss was enough to triumph anyway. Man, that must be really painful for Pyke. I mean, you know, both players at max upgrades now, so there's nothing really, no real difference there. You know, it was just how awesome mass DT is, I guess. And now Pyke is in some serious trouble. I mean, he's down to 116 supply again. His base at the top left, his last fresh base, is under threat here, although he's got a very good defensive position here. And yeah, it looks like Mazor realizes it's probably not worth trying to kill it. So he's gonna pull back here. He doesn't want to waste these DTs. Of course, the DTs, you know, they have insane DPS, but they're also relatively fragile, so it doesn't want to just charge them into Lurkers head on like that. Meanwhile, it looks like, oh man, 2 Reavers are actually killing everything in the main base here for Pyke as well, or for Mazor rather. And what's going to come back to defend him? He's just got a handful of Hydras and Lings. The Reaver can actually just kill all of those, in fact. The Ultras Cavern now being targeted. His only hope is actually that they run out of Scarabs. Oh, can he rescue it? Oh! Woo! Oh, gets away with the speed shuttle. And where's he gonna go? I was just gonna go home here. He's got so many Reavers. Oh man, that's not looking good for Pike. Is Pike doing any dropping? Nope, not anymore. A lot of cannons there as well, so it'll be a little bit more difficult. Looks like some random Zealot's gonna charge over, and here we go. Oh man, 4 Reavers now in the main base. The Hive is likely gonna go down here, as well as the Ultralisk Cavern. Do they actually have their attack upgrade? I actually can't tell because he keeps making Scarabs. Stop making Scarabs! Stop it! Stop it! They're actually doing so much damage. Oh, but here come the Hydras. Here they come. But is it going to be enough? There's 4 Reavers there. They're going to do insane damage. It looks like 1 Reaver. Looks like, no, 1 shuttle goes down. The Reavers are all alive still. And 1 Reaver and 1 shuttle for all that. Oh, it looks like some more units are coming down here. And it's just turning into micro wars right now. Looks like a 2nd Reaver does go down. And boom. So now Pike is at 100 minerals. Actually, he's been like this for a while now. He's just kind of barely hanging on by everything. He's gonna lose all his tech now. Yep, Ultra's Cavern going down as well. And it looks like actually he does have the Scarab damage upgrade. Those Scarabs were doing 125 damage apiece. So I think this is going to be the end of Pike. I mean, Mazor's basically maxed still, and only 124 supply for Pike here. I mean, he fought valiantly. A really nice ZVP here. Man, Mazor versus Pike. We need to get some show matches with these guys or something. They play some epic games. No Rush 20 for the win. But unfortunately for Pike, he has no main base, which is often a sign that you're not in a good position. Just in case you weren't sure. I think this is basically his last hurrah here. Pike, or sorry, Mazor, is he gonna try and charge this base? Oh, Plague-oo! Plague-oo! Yeah, Plague-oo! Ah, Shima! Oh man, this sucks. Oh, he's gonna break it with Reavers. I was wondering if he was actually gonna go for it. Oh, he's just gonna break it with the Reavers. That's BM. Another Plague hitting a couple of DTs, which is useful. But still, the Sunken Spore Lurker here at the top of the ramp is not going to hold. And I think Pike realizes this. He's just going to go for it. This is the last hurrah, the last engagement. Can Pike do it? It's going to be insanely hard. And no, it looks like he doesn't quite have enough here. The Protoss army just far too strong. The Swarm is actually going to work against these Hydras, in fact. He's just trying to poke around you, just trying to keep this expansion alive as long as possible. In fact, he doesn't actually want to engage head on because he knows he can't win it. He just wants to mine all the minerals from that base before having to commit to this engagement. And here we go. Now going in again. I think he's trying to move in for a Plague or something. What's that Defiler doing? He's not doing anything. Oh, there's the Dark Swarm, but it's a little bit too late now. And that's going to be it. The Hydra's coming in, but now these Dark Swarms are actually going to work against the Hydra. There's actually no detection here to see the DTs either. And with Reavers in the back, with good Storms, there's nothing that Pike can do here. He's trying to be a boss, trying to be a hero, but he's dropped down to 60 supply. Mazor is still basically maxed here, 3 times the supply for our Protoss player. Although, I guess he still kept this base mining. Where are these drones going? The drones are just going to run, but if they run down here, they're just going to run into the Protoss main. Oh man, he should actually evacuate all the drones into the Protoss main. That'd be hilarious. That would actually be awesome. Please do it, Pike. Just right-click all your drones to the Protoss main. Just like go kill the rest of his gateways or something. Like, I'm pretty sure the drones can actually snipe High Templar coming out of gateways, because obviously High Templars can't attack. So that'd be really cool if he did that, but it wouldn't help him. He is dead. And the funny thing is, now Mazor can actually take this expansion for himself and mine the rest of the money. The last minerals on the map. Still mining here from this bottom right base. Still got Reavers there. Pike's gonna send a few units up. I think the Protoss army just ran back in the main. Oh, they killed all the drones. BM. See, the funny thing is, since this is mined out, Mazor can easily send a probe out there from his main and just expand. And there's nothing that Pike can do about it. So, oh, he's gonna catch a few free Archons here though. That's a nice win for him. And by free Archons, I mean, what the hell, they're not dying. Wow. Alright, so free Archons turn into... Archons are pretty damn good, and they're gonna kill all your dudes anyway. That kind of sucks. GG! Mazur takes game number 4 and evens up the score 2-2 between these two teams. Wow, what an awesome game here. Making up a little bit for the first couple of games. But yeah, now this series is definitely living up to it. Nice, 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 nice. Oh, man, my throat is